What's up, everyone? Mr. YouTube Gamer. Today we're playing Battlefield 2042 in 2024. It's been 3 years now since this game came out back in 2021, and I remember there was a lot of hype surrounding this game, thinking, oh, this is going to be the year that Battlefield is finally going to overtake Call of Duty, because Call of Duty Vanguard, a lot of people were not excited for that game, and this is Battlefield's chance to finally outshine COD, because the trailer for Battlefield 2042 looked awesome. You had the environment with the tornado and the dust storm and all that, and the map looked huge, 128 players, crossplay, all these amazing things. And then when the game actually came out, it was very, very underwhelming, to the point that nobody really considered 2042 to be much better than Vanguard, because that was another game that a lot of people did not like. And also Halo Infinite that year as well. Man, you would think a year where you have Halo, a new Halo game, a new Battlefield game, and a new Call of Duty game, you think at least one of those would be good, but unfortunately we didn't get that for any of them. They all were very, very underwhelming and not what people were looking for. With Halo Infinite, people over time kind of were like, yeah, it's gotten better. Vanguard never got better, but Battlefield 2042, yeah, I mean, a lot of people prefer it now compared to when it came out at launch. I think the big thing that really got a lot of people back into it and made people kind of change their minds about it was when they decided to get rid of the specialist system, where they had like heroes pretty much with special abilities. They scrapped that and brought the game back to a classic class system that Battlefield is known for, like having a support class, assault class, recon, that kind of stuff. So I think that really brought a lot of goodwill back into the game. And of course they added new maps, new weapons, new content over time. So I would say if you're someone who did not enjoy Battlefield 2042 when it came out in 2021, I think it's worth at least revisiting it and giving it another chance. I've been playing Battlefield since 2010. That was my introduction to the series with Battlefield Bad Company 2. And so I've played every Battlefield multiplayer. I even went back and played the ones before I started playing, like going way back to 1942. So I've played every single one, pretty much, except for Battlefield Play for Free. That's like the only one I haven't played. But honestly, I gotta say that Battlefield 2042 is the one that I don't really have that high of an opinion for. I just don't like a lot of aspects that the game has. I really a lot of the maps feel just way too open, and they don't really feel like they were thought out too well. Not a big fan of the map design. The later, like the ones that they added in later on were better, but there's still so many maps that are not that good, even to this day, and they're not very fun to play, including the one in this gameplay. The gunplay just doesn't feel right to me. It just feels like, how do I describe it? It just feels like you're shooting plastic guns. That's honestly the opinion that I've had since I started playing. Like, just the gunplay feels like a downgrade compared to Battlefield 5 and Battlefield 1. I mean, Battlefield 5 had fantastic gunplay. No matter what you want to say about the game itself, that's another game that was controversial, but man, did it feel really good using those guns. It felt like Battlefield 2042 was a step back, even though it introduced all these new things. And, in a lot of ways, it did feel like a next-gen experience, but with the dynamic effects and everything, and the increased player count, I think they just wanted the game to feel bigger and not actually make it a bigger game than what we've had before. And honestly, I was, upset also about the fact that they had the feature where you can build, like in Battlefield 5, like if parts of the maps are destroyed, you can build, rebuild buildings and build fortifications and that. Like, they just decided not to bring that back into 2042. I'm like, oh man, that kind of sucks. But I don't know. I mean, the vehicles are fun. The overall game is it's not horrible. I can't say that's oh my god, it's such a terrible, terrible game, because even though, I mean, I think I could say that it's probably the worst Battlefield game, even the worst Battlefield game compared to a lot of other games is actually not even that bad. I mean, people talk about how the Battlefield series has fallen off over the past decade or so, which I'd agree with, but, it needs to get better. It really does. But that being said, even some of the worst Battlefield games are a lot more enjoyable than, a lot of recent games that we've gotten in, in a lot of different games. So, I don't know. I guess I would recommend it because I know there are a lot of people who love Battlefield, and this is the only Battlefield game that has crossplay, so that alone might be a huge thing because I mean, these days everyone plays with each other on different platforms, but you can't really go back to the old games and play with your friends because none of them have crossplay enabled. That alone may be an enticing reason to play Battlefield 2042. For me, that would be the only reason. I love Battlefield 4. I love Battlefield 1 even, but there really aren't as many people that play it these days. You can still find full games. Like, I think pretty much all the old games, you can still find players. It's a little more difficult, but you can still find them. This one, obviously, there's still a lot of people playing online because of the fact that it has crossplay and the fact that it's still getting content support and getting updates. I expect that to end soon because I think it is next year that we're going to get the next Battlefield game. And I wonder what it's going to be set in. Is it going to be a modern military? I think that's the most likely one. Going to be like kind of like a Battlefield 3 or Battlefield 4 kind of thing. That's what I think if I had to bet my money on it. So yeah, I mean, soon the support's going to end. And by the time the new game comes out, it's probably Battlefield 2042 is not going to be much reason to go back to. I mean, it is a game that feels like it still lacks a lot of polish and really wasn't thought out too well, like in terms of conceptualizing what this game was going to be. It was just so all over the place and not as cohesive and, like, see the clear vision, like with previous Battlefield games. It was like, oh, okay, I see what they're doing here. This one, I still have no idea what they were going for. So it's not the best, but especially if you already have Game Pass Ultimate, EA Play, you can play the game for free. Might as well just hop in and see if it's worth your time or not. If not, just uninstall it. But I wouldn't actually pay for it for anything more than like $20, if that.